made something like, I think about 15% profit the first month. I'm Dave Clements. I'm from Chesterfield in Derbyshire.
Fantastic. Okay, so what was your experience before coming on the workshop?
I'd originally sort of dabbled a bit with the stocks and shares on the internet with one of these useless companies, you know, the ones that sort of will do this for you and don't do it. And then by chance, 18 months ago, I was watching a television program where you were on talking about crypto. It was about stocks and shares, doing the lunchtime trader.
Yeah.
And so I actually got from that, I then got the lunchtime trader book, and then went from there to actually on one of your day courses. And then from there, went and booked onto the stocks and shares.
Brilliant. Did you go by yourself or with your family?
The first day was me and Jay. And
you took your son. You took your son.
Yeah, Jay got that. Jay,
18-year-old son. Okay.
Yeah. And then the stocks and shares, I did up the course. I took that one on my own, and then taught him when I got back.
Oh, brilliant.
So therefore, that.
Oh, I like that. So let's stop there. So basically, well, first of all, so what did your 18-year-old son? Did he say, "Come on, Dad, let's do it," or was he like, "Oh, I'm not sure"?
No, it's funny. He's very up for it. He'd gone on these, because at that time he was only 17. So where was it? He'd been on to where you can do these demo accounts. So he'd actually been doing stuff on his demo account, just playing around because there's no age limit on that. So he'd actually got into it a bit himself since I was on the course. So from that, when I actually decided to start trading and going live, Jay worked with me, my son worked with me until he was 18. And then the day he was 18, he started trading on that day.
I love
it. He actually got the benefits.
So you came on our workshop by yourself.
Yep.
And then you taught your son how to trade. I love that. That is just brilliant. That's fantastic. Because did you find, by the way, that when you were explaining stuff and he was asking, you had to go, oh my goodness, now I need to find out the answers. Did you find that teaching actually helped you?
It is, but also what I did, I had a fortnight off work afterwards. And after a fortnight off work, I actually went through the workbook that you gave us, that from the course.
Did you do that? Did you do that on purpose? Did you take the time?
Yes. Yes, I actually took 2 weeks off to do that.
Smart.
So therefore, I went through the book, going to remembering all the main parts. So therefore, I'd actually then typed them up in Word. So therefore, all the main parts were there for him to do. So therefore, at the time of teaching him, at the same time, I was actually teaching myself again by going through it all and typing it down as a double memory sort of thing for it. So I actually spent a fortnight doing that and doing spreadsheets. So basically, by the time I'd finished, I actually knew what profit I'd made in every stock, what industry it was in, what actions I'd taken, whether it'd gone out of stop loss or take profit or whatever. I'd got about 18 pages, 18 columns in an Excel spreadsheet, so I could actually go down to the nth degree of working what I'd done right.
Very seriously, you didn't just go, oh, it's just another call.
When I decide I like something, I can't do it playing at it. I just go full in. I'm lucky my wife and the family understand that that's where I get. So once I get focused into something, that's me done. And that's the last I sort of see it from me. I just sort of go and just put me in a room out of the way and just feed me every now and then sort of thing.
So your man cave, yeah. You're like, throw something in, close the door.
Yeah, my wife's quite understanding. She just says, yeah, okay. Every time I just want to do something, yeah, okay. Just that's the way it is now. Yeah, okay. Just to get on with it, like.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so question then. So what was the best thing for you about the workshop?
To be honest, I think it's probably the easy atmosphere, the friendly atmosphere, where anything you ask, it doesn't matter how stupid it sounds or anything, nobody sort of criticises you for it. It's done at a pace that everybody can understand, and it's just made easy. To be honest, it's not saying that actually to do it is easy, but what it is actually taught in an easy manner where sort of you can just get it at your own pace. You know, there's no pressure on it. It's no, oh, we're going to do this, you're going to do, 100% profit the first week. It's none of that. It's more realistic. That sort of thing. Well, okay, this is what you're going to do. So therefore, you start off on realistic atmosphere, that attitude. They're thinking, well, okay, it's not out of this world, but also it's the target. You think, well, actually, that sounds all right. It's quite capable. But I'm one of these that if somebody else can do it, I must be able to do it as well. It's one of those things. I have no problem with self-belief. It's actually more non-delusional, I think, at times. But that's just the way I am. That's it. Well, if somebody else can do it, I can now do it, and that's it. And I'll keep on doing it until I prove myself I can do it.
I think that's a very healthy belief to have. Very healthy. If they can do it, I always say, big crowd. If they can do it, I can do it. Right? Everybody do that. If they can, it's true.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's true. If you believe it, it's true. If you don't, it's also true. Brilliant. So, what have been your results after the workshop then?
I made the mistake after the actual trade, when I went live trading, as I made some I think about 15% profit the first month, which sounds really good. But then, like anything, like I say, well, if anybody else can do it, I can do it. That's you thought, okay, we can get a bit cocky now, and sort of made a few mistakes afterwards. And so, therefore, I took a bit of a hit. The first 2 months, the 2 months after that weren't too bad. Well, then it became August, and August last year was a very up and down. Stocks were all over the place, and I took a hit on a couple where they gapped. I'd moved the stop loss, but they gapped, so I took a massive hit on a couple of trades on that. So it's actually took me till Christmas to get back to somewhere I was from that one. But it's more with me. If I come out of a trader, then to me, if I make a loss, that's more incentive for me to go back and make a profit. So I never struggle with the thing of, well, I've made a loss, I'm going to give up. To me, it's like, okay, I'm now going to make sure it works. I get annoyed with myself that I've done something wrong, and then I'll go through the rest. To be honest, what we found was if we stick to the rules rigidly, we win more than we lose. And that's where it is. I say the first one, because the first month was a good one, it was like, oh, unless you said yourself, that's the worst thing can happen to you, make a profit. And it was like, hey, this is all right. This is sort of, I got 2 trades on the first one, maybe say 30-40% profit. It's like, hey, this is easy. This is. We'll say then you come down to earth, and then realization hits and everything. I was like, but say to be honest, from the conversation I had with Dennis, Keith, Eamon, all that lot, they also make a big difference, because sometimes it's just a little tweak that does it. That makes all the difference to it. And it is at times. It's not. Well, you've got it upside down sort of thing. It is literally, it's just, well, actually do that and think, actually, I missed that bit.
That's a great distinction. That is a great distinction. I'm actually learning a lot here. This is good. Because, it's not like people get it totally wrong. It's just that just a little thing here, and we know what it is. We go, right, this thing here, and then you're fine. And for somebody else, it's that thing here and that thing there, and then you're fine. That's a really good distinction.
Yeah,
and yes, about the worst thing that can happen is profits right at the beginning. Right? But I own the market. I always say the market's my bitch. No.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I worked on the theory of that. I'm going to master the market, which I know I'll never ever do, but I'm just working that. The nearer I can get to more wins and losses, and then like a good number of wins, then I'm thinking I'm on top of it. But if that's the way it is to me, it's like I say, something's gone wrong there, that's gone wrong. Therefore, I'm going to make sure it's right now. And so it actually drives me every time I get one wrong, like loss of money. It actually drives me to get another one right.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So, what have been the final results then? What is it? You went in August, did you? August?
Yes, I went live in June. I went live in June last year.
Right.
My target was originally that if we break even, I treated it like a business. First year learning, if we break even, I'd be happy. Okay. By Christmas, I was hoping to do that.
I like that, realistic expectations. I love that.
Yeah, well, see, we actually run, I think, 24% on the buffaloes and everything else like that.
On your
the whole pot, yes, on the whole pot. And say if we let's come back from the buffaloes and everything else, we've done up to 23. About I think buffaloes and VCAs is 23%, and VCAs now we're just going to that one, and that we're up registered about 30% on that.
Fantastic. And are you doing cryptos as well, Dave?
I was selling cryptos at 30%. That's cryptos 30%.
That's cryptos on 30%.
Yeah, and we've been in that about 6 weeks. What I wanted to do was do the buffalo first, sort of get ready around that. Then we're going to the VCAs, and then we've gone to crypto. We've done one at a time, so we're not trying to confuse matters. So we said, well, okay, let's get one where as soon as we started making more wins and losses in buffaloes, went to the VCAs. Right. And then we did the same thing in that. So we've actually done it each time. Then once we got the VCAs, we started making money on that, where the stock market's been at a level where it's just kept going down. Nothing really what happened on the buffaloes. That's when we went to the cryptos. And then we've got followed, again, your rules again on the cryptos, where we've done it basically in the top 20 and all that sort of stuff. So we've done all that as well.
That's the investing, but then your next step now is the RSI contrarian strategy.
Which we started doing.
Okay.
which we just started. Well, in fact, yeah, we started it yesterday. Put a trade on 2 days ago. Put a trade on that, and in that 2 days, we've made. I think it went about 3%, something like that.
Fantastic.
So then, say we'll actually do this on just a couple of trades just to see.
Yeah.
So that one's actually gone well. So we've just started on that one. Then we're now going to be moving forward on that one now.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So, but also, you mentioned Jay, who's your 18-year-old.
Yeah.
So, tell us about that, like doing it together as a family. Tell us a little bit about that.
It makes it easier that there's two of you, because basically you can bounce back between each other for what you've got. So that makes it one thing easier. But also it basically enables him to trade with his own money. Everything he does is paid for the courses out of his own money. Everything's been done by himself. So that way, everything he does, he sees that's what he's achieved himself. So therefore, he creates more self-belief in himself. But also, everything he's got, his car, he's paid for himself. We've done nothing for it. We advise him, but he takes it on. He makes them decision himself whether he wants to do it or not. And he decided he wanted to do the training, but he also realised it meant he has to get up early in the morning to do it, and things like that. And it means some days when we go through the training, we go through the trainings on a Sunday, and he loses a Sunday. Sometimes we've got loads of systems set up with potential buffaloes, shorts, and all this sort of stuff. So we've got loads of different categories. So therefore, every 2 days we go through each category. But then we have some more that we call potentials, which are basically the ones that are very close to getting ready to get in. So we have more filed down. So we've got probably 14 different categories of things for the VCAs. Where it's at. So we have ones that are quite a way off, ones that are getting ready to do, and then ones that are actually now. So therefore, it makes it quicker in the morning.
Much quicker.
Because we can do it that way. So
other people are looking at this huge list, but why are you looking at that one? It's nowhere near. Like
that's it. Yeah, that's the way we get it. I hate wasting time on things, and that's the way we do. So what we do is say, well, okay, look, if we spend the time, that's where I said about the 2 weeks off originally. By spending the 2 weeks off, it gives you time to actually go through it and concentrate on what it is.
Amazing.
And spend the time on it, so therefore it makes it quicker going forward afterwards.
Yeah. So you slow down in order to go faster.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. It is. It's equipment that you sort of say, well, okay, I'm going to use some knowledge to do it, but we understand at the time of it, and by the time afterwards, it makes it quicker. So although you're losing time there, you get up with your family and things like that, you actually get the time back afterwards because you're making it quicker in the long run. But also it means you actually keep doing it, because when it starts taking too long, because obviously if I have to go through this and all that, you end up starting thinking, well, okay, I'm not bothered doing it.
I might kind of suggest to people that after they do the workshop, the weekend afterwards, they just, totally just focus. Yeah. I mean, it's not 2 weeks clearly, but at least do that.
Yeah.
It's all about momentum. Yeah. You can just keep the momentum. You'll get it in the end,
Yeah. I'm one that I like to, if like the videos and everything you post on the website, I actually go through those probably 3 or 4 times, but then I'll actually take the actions on probably the 4th time, because that way I don't miss anything. So therefore, when I actually take the actions, I'll actually miss nothing out of the actions. So I don't do it the first time or second time. Sometimes I do it the 3rd time. It'll be 4 times before I actually start where something will take this action. I actually go through it all the time. Then I start taking the actions. But by that time, I've absorbed everything to do. Because otherwise, there's no point taking one action, but I've missed the other 3. Mm-hmm. So I tend to do things that way. I do. It's more. It's just the way I tend to be. That I find because I tend to know how I work. So I think, well, if we have any distractions anywhere, I'll have a get out. So basically, I'll make everything so okay, I've stopped that. I just can't say, well, I didn't know, because I've actually been through it 4 times. So therefore, I can't use that as a get out why I didn't do it. So everything it's like, okay, I'll now stop that as a get out because I'll do that. So it's a bit like the morning routines and everything. I work it backwards, what time I actually need to put in. At that time, that's the time I have to now get up. Not saying, well, I'll get up at 7 o'clock, so I've got to fit it in between 7 and 8. There's no need for that. So it means I have to get up at 5:05 every morning. So now I get up at 5:05 every morning because that's what I need to do it. Yeah. So therefore, I can't turn around and say, well, actually, I need more sleep. Well, no. You decided what you need to do in it in the time, that 3 hours in the morning. Therefore, I have to do it that way. I have to get up at 5, so I have to set myself up to be up at that time. So I can't use it as an excuse, well, I was tired, or didn't do this, and I didn't do that, or I didn't have time. I've given myself time, so it's only been down to myself then that I don't do it. Sounds a bit double Dutch, but it's
No,
just
no,
the way
it
I
does.
do
No,
it.
it sounds you're working backwards, and well, not backwards in that sense.
Yes,
But it sounds like you know yourself,
yes,
and you know your strengths and your weaknesses,
yes,
and that is so powerful. You know thyself is the key, isn't it?
yeah,
Brilliant, absolutely
yeah.
fantastic.
I've always liked a lot to do with the mind. So I've always spent a lot of time working on what you can and can't do, and what the mind does and what it doesn't do. That so it's just something I enjoy. So I also have chronic illness, which basically works in the mind and all that sort of stuff. So therefore, I've learnt more from that as well. So it does mean I tend to know what I will accept and what I won't accept, and what I will do and what I don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I tend to do it that way.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And it looks like your son is starting to really get into the mindset as well. The routine.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's they've always been brought up. Both children have been brought up to have self-belief. Unfortunately, until they went to school, and then they gradually knocked it out. By the time they leave school, it's sort of he's gone again now. Whereas up until him starting school, he was sort of my level of delusional at times for what he could and couldn't do. We could just say, well, yeah, okay, if you want to do it, you can do it, and he could do. But say then went to school and they sort of say the usual sort of thing. Well, you can't do this, you can't do that. Oh, well, you'll never make this, you'll never make that. But he's got the mindset of. I was always brought up with the mindset of, well, if they tell you can't do it, that means you can. Mm. So if they tell you you'll never do this, be able to do this, you'll be able to do it. You know, there's just, but I was brought up the same way. That my father brought me up there in the sense of whatever you want to do, you can do it. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it.
Yeah, brilliant. So what would you say to people who are, they're thinking about doing the course? They're probably watching this video. They're thinking, oh, I want the results, but are these the right people? Is this the right thing? What would you say to people who are like umming and ahhing about doing the workshop?
If you're serious about it and you really, really want it, and at whatever cost it comes at to do it, then do it and you'll fly. But if you're sort of, I don't know, maybe, then to be honest, that you'll never do it. It's sort of, I'm telling you black and white that if you're humming and ahhing, that means there's a doubt. If there's a doubt, it's 10 times harder for you.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to turn around and say, I can do it, I want to do it. And it's exactly so I said before, you find your why.
Maybe though the doubt might be like okay, so I get some people that just say, look, if I'll do the work, but please be the person who will teach me something that does work, because there's a lot of people around, yes. So you don't know which one to go to. So if they're just like, I'll do the work, but does it work? Like, can Marcus and the team, does Investment Mastery deliver, is what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean,
without doubt, from my experience and Jay's experience, without doubt, it delivers, 100% delivers. But you say you've got to be prepared to put the work in. You give you the instructions, you've got to be prepared to follow the instructions, no matter how painful the instructions are or how much you want to go against them. Follow them and you'll work. So I say, if we followed your rules, we've done more wins than we've made losses. And like I say, the not just the trading, but also the wealth creation and all that sort of stuff. All that as a package. If you want to move on in life and get somewhere where you believe you should be or where you want to be, then you'll do it here. But if you're not sure that's where you want to be and I think it might be a bit too difficult, then no matter who you go to, you're going to have the same problem. To be honest, fair to you can't blame you for somebody not prepared to put the effort in.
That's right.
You can have the best teacher in the world.
They'll have the same problem, yeah.
Yeah. You can have the best teacher in the world, but if you're not prepared to put the work in,
let's quickly, in the last few minutes, talk about the wealth creation masterclass. Because what was your biggest kind of takeaway from that?
To be honest, you solved all my problems probably the first hour of the thing. I could sort of got home after the first hour because you solved all my problems. Because I have, just like I say, I have total self-belief. When I started a business 26 years ago, from zero, and now it turns over nearly £2 million. And I had a goal, set my goal, but my goal was so big, even 26 years later, I still don't know what it actually means now, because it was, if I remember right, I wanted to create a company that was world renowned for quality and integrity, which sounds good, but the thing about it is, what does that actually mean? I've got no idea at all. But I had my phone, I read my book, I had my goal, and that's what I was going to do. It was so broad that I could never get to it. And then the second one was my relation to money, because my relation to money was always, you've got enough, you don't need too much. And so I could get it to successful, but then I just sort of think, I'm bored now, because I could pay my bills, the work was coming in all the time, and it didn't go any further because I got bored. Actually, I got more excited when we didn't have the work, and I had to start thinking, oh, Christ, we've got that. And then I'd get excited again because I've got now get the work back in again. But once it actually went to that, I just got bored because I thought, so I'd got this vision of grandeur where the company was going to go, but then I also had the vision of, well, I don't want too much money, and I don't want to do too much, because that shouldn't be what you do with money. So one would actually work against the other. It wouldn't know me until you actually said, it couldn't marry up no matter what it did. Yeah. So my wife used to say to me, well, when are you going to be happy? And I thought, I had a clue. So I actually just didn't know, because I got this goal that was, well, that's what I'm going to do. Well, what the hell has it been? And nobody knew. 26, like I say, 26 years later, I still don't know myself. But now, by focusing the goals, breaking them down, so it actually becomes more understandable, I think it's probably the best way of doing it. So you actually know clearly what it means. And also, the other one was basically actually accepting money that is what it said. I've always been brought up with, well, you've got enough, don't have too much, and all that sort of stuff. Well, now, like I say, now it's changed that I'm looking at it, well, okay, what I can actually do with the money afterwards. And I say, I want to set up funds and all that sort of stuff so it does better for people and all that sort of stuff. Well, that's what I've always wanted to do. But again, I could never get the money in to be able to do it, because I've got this vision that it is. So all my goals were sort of one conflicting against the other without actually realising that's what was actually happening to me. And saying, to be honest, you said that probably about the first 2 hours, I'm thinking, okay, that's sort of that problem out, sort of thing. That because I was actually going against myself, no matter how driven I could become, how single-minded I could become, it stopped, but it got to a point, because that was, well, I'm at that level now, but I could never get to my goal because I didn't know what my goal was either. So it just went round in circles, vicious circles in the end.
It's strange how you need to, like, the answers I think are all inside of us, but you do sometimes just need something or somebody else to help sort things out. It's strange. Yeah. I need the same. I have coaches and mentors. It's the same. You know? Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, the rest of the course, I do the morning routine, evening routines, but say setting the goals is more than what I was doing before. But say actually listening to somebody say, well, actually you do that, and think, well, yeah, actually I do that, and so again, it's a bit like saying on the train. A lot of it is just tweaks. So where at times you think, well, okay, I'm all right, I don't really need that. I mean, to be honest, I went on that one more to drag Jay along to get in. But say Jay did the course, did the wheel creation, and from the first day he was getting up where it's like, I don't really want to get up yet. The second day, he was like, he raced into the shower before anybody else, sort of thing. He was like, come on, let's go, we're going now, sort of thing. And by the time, and he said himself, he said, on the last day when we were coming home, he said, I wish it felt like this on day one. He said, I could have talked to everybody that's in there, and I could have had an older conversation, because originally it was, well, I'm 18 and everybody else is a lot older than me. And it's like anything at 18, you don't know what your goals are and all this sort of thing. But by the time he'd done his 3 days, it was like, I just wish it had actually been like this on day one, because he said I just spoke to everybody in the side, no matter how old they were, what they were, and all that. But saying literally on day 2, how he jumped out of bed and he's like, come on, we're ready to go now, then what we're doing something. So and he was real sceptical to go. He was like, well, he's going to do all that happy clappy and all this sort of stuff, and it's not me, and I'm just going to see him dancing or whatever, that sort of thing. But say by the time he'd done 1 day, literally 1 day, he sort of changed his mindset. And to be honest, he's kept his mindset that way. So it has made a big difference to him, because he also does a wealth creation himself. So he's doing it, and he does his journaling, and he does his exercising, and he does all that sort of stuff. So he's without doubt taking a lot from it. At 18, he's taking a lot from it.
That's brilliant. I love that. Okay, we've only got 1 minute left, so I wanted to just quickly ask you this, because it came into my mind. Coming back to the stock market, have you talked to anybody else, like family members or friends and stuff? And what have been their, what's been their reaction?
My family, my father, I've told my father, and he just said, yeah, okay, sounds good. But he's one of those where, if whatever job you ever said you wanted to do, as long as you did it the best of your ability, he was happy with it. It didn't matter what the job was. As long as you were the best at it, it didn't make any difference to him at all.
Okay.
So him is with him, because of how I am, just like whatever I say, I'm going to do that now. he just knows I will do it. So therefore, he's like, yeah, it sounds good, that. To be honest, the rest of the families we haven't told because they're all exception negative. And so therefore, we thought, I can't even bother with it because all you get is all you know. No matter, even with the success you've got now, it's like, oh, you don't know you're going to lose all your money on that sort of stuff. And that's because that's the way they are. They're very cautious and everything else like that. Or they just basically don't like, well, you just don't want to see anybody get success. You know, that's the way they are. So I'd say the only one is my father's the only one that knows.
Yeah.
So we've never told anybody else for that reason, really, because I look at it as just, if you want to be negative, I know they're going to be negative because that's the way they are, so if I don't waste some time with them.
Thank you, yourself, MJ. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Dave. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Trust the family. Bye.
Cheers,